Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 13th May 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see the quote of the day. So today's quote is given by Nelson Mandela and it is also motivational quote. It is mainly talking about importance of hope. So he says that remember that hope is powerful weapon even when all else is lost. So even when all else is lost, hope it is a powerful weapon. So this is the theme that we can see in number of movies as well, right? So please don't lose your hope, and with hope, please try to improve your preparation strategy. And if there is any loopholes that is seen in your preparation strategy, try to overcome them. Try to practice as many test papers as possible in this time, okay, especially to clear this prelims. So I wish you a very all the best for the students who are going to appear this year prelims. So now let us try to see first topic. It is regarding delimitation. So delimitation of Jammu and Kashmir. So this article is important regarding your GS paper 2 under polity. So already we discussed this topic a number of times. So again we are going to discuss this topic once again. And one more thing here is you need to see some facts regarding this delimitation. So already we discussed this topic in our earlier lecture. So it is a time to revise some facts regarding this delimitation. So this delimitation facts will be important from your prelims. So they might become your potential prelims statements as well. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So why it is in news? So recently commission set up by central government, it submitted its report. Okay, final report of delimitation of assembly and parliamentary constituencies in Jammu and Kashmir. So finally report which may released by the commission. So why was this commission mainly set up? So actually you know that here erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir state. So in that erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir state, so articles like Article 370 of Indian Constitution, Article 35A of Indian Constitution, they had been abrogated. So on August 5th, 6th, 2019, we came up with this dilution of these two articles, and later on we came up with this Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019. Okay, and we came up with this erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, which made it divide into two union territories. One is Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, next one is Union Territory of Ladakh. Okay, so Jammu and Kashmir, which mainly contains legislative assembly, and Union Territory of Ladakh do not contain legislative assembly. So this is some background. So what happened here after we came with this Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019? So we came up with the increase in the number of seats in the assembly. So erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir state, which mainly contains about 111 seats. So out of this 111 seats, so 46 in Kashmir and 37 in Jammu and 4 in Ladakh. So along with this, 24 seats are reserved in Pak occupied Kashmir. So this Pak occupied Kashmir, which is under administration of Pakistan. So what happened in the erstwhile state, delimitation of this parliamentary constituencies. So this mainly was governed by Constitution of India. And if you're talking about assembly seats, so assembly seats were carried out by then the state government under this Jammu and Kashmir Representation of People's Act of 1957. So for this Jammu and Kashmir, we have this Jammu and Kashmir Representation of People's Act. So according to that, here this delimitation which mainly governed regarding this assembly seats. So what happened now? Jammu and Kashmir, which became Union Territory. So after abrogation of this special category status of this Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, and we came with this delimitation of both assembly and as well as parliamentary seats, okay, as per our Indian Constitution. So because of that, we came up with this delimitation commission on 6th March 2020. So to understand why we came with this delimitation commission in this Jammu and Kashmir, you need to know the background. So earlier we have Jammu and Kashmir Representation of People's Act. So according to that, it mainly talks about the assembly seats. But when we came with this dilution of this special category status for this Jammu and Kashmir, and now we came up with this delimitation regarding this assembly seats and parliamentary seats as per our Indian Constitution, right? And because of that, we came with this appointment of this commission on 6th March 2020. And this commission, which mainly headed by Supreme Court retired Supreme Court Justice, that is Ranjana Prakash Desai. Okay, it has Chief Election Commissioner and even Jammu and Kashmir Chief Electoral Officers as members, and even Jammu and Kashmir's 5 MPs as associated members. So these are the members of this commission. So if you're talking about what are the changes that are mainly made by this new commission. So first and the foremost thing here we need to talk about legislative assembly seats. So there is increasing of 7 assembly seats, okay, and 6 in Jammu and Kashmir and 1 in Kashmir, okay. So there is increasing of total 7 legislative assembly seats. So 6 in Jammu and 1 in Kashmir. So now how many seats are present in this Jammu? That is about 43 seats. And if you're talking about Kashmir, now we have 47 seats here. And because of this recent commission, so it also made some massive changes in the structure of existing assembly seats as well. So this is about assembly seats. And if you're talking about Lok Sabha, so there are 5 parliamentary constituencies in this region, and this delimitation commission has seen Jammu and Kashmir region as a single union territory. And if you're talking about this commission recent report, which mainly said that they came up with this redrawing of Anantnag and as well as Jammu seats. And if you're talking about Pir Panjal region in Jammu, it mainly comprising of Poonch, Rajouri districts, and formerly they are part of Jammu parliamentary seats, and now they are mainly added to these Anantnag seats in Kashmir. And even if you're talking about Shia dominated region of Srinagar, okay, the parliamentary constituency has been transferred to this Baramulla constituency. Okay, you have to know about this Anantnag and as well as Baramulla constituency. So these are the 2 important changes that we see after this new delimitation commission report. And if you're talking about Kashmiri Pandits, so commission had recommended provision of at least 2 members from this community of this Kashmiri Pandits or Kashmiri migrants, or we can say Kashmiri Hindus. They should be present in legislative assembly. So Kashmiri Pandits, they will be having a great role in the Kashmir. And what happened because of persecutions that happened in this Jammu and Kashmir, so these Kashmiri Pandits, they came out of this Kashmir region. So because of this, the representation of this Kashmiri Pandits is very, very important in this Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly and as well as Lok Sabha, right. And next one here is, it also has recommended the center should consider giving the representation in the Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly to the displaced persons from the Pak occupied Kashmir who migrated to Jammu after partition. So after partition, what happened? So these are the people, they mainly migrated. And if you're talking about scheduled tribes, so we are having number of scheduled tribes in this Jammu and Kashmir region. So total 9 seats are reserved for this scheduled tribes for the first time. Okay, and one important scheduled tribe is very important, especially they are very much famous for this Pashima shawls. Okay, so you have to know that. And now if you're talking about what are the concerns regarding this delimitation commission report, so this delimitation, which is mainly act of fixing, and as well as we are going for redrawing of limits of boundaries of territorial constituencies. Okay, so for the territorial constituencies, we are going for redrawing of limits or boundaries. So this is nothing but this delimitation. So this delimitation, which is mainly done by our delimitation commission. So this delimitation exercise, which mainly carried out by independent high powered panel, and it is commonly called as delimitation commission, whose orders have force of law and as well as they cannot be questioned in the court of law. So this will be very important prelims fact, right. So the exercise has been carried out over the years to redefine the area of constituency based on its population size. But actually what happened, 2021 census had been delayed and we didn't came up with this 2021 census efficiently due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So again we are taking the 2011 census as the data. So this is also one cause of concern. So this exercise also involves reservation of assembly seats for this scheduled tribes and as well as scheduled caste in accordance with the constitution. So if we are talking about some facts regarding this delimitation, so under Article 82 of Indian Constitution, which mainly talks about Parliament can enact this delimitation act after every census. After every census, we can come up with this delimitation act. So Article 82, which mainly talks about power of Parliament. And if you're talking about next one, that is Article 170 of Indian Constitution, which is mainly talking about, okay, constituencies. They states where they can come up with this delimitation, okay, into territorial constituencies as per the Delimitation Act after every census. Article 170 and as well as Article 82 talks about this delimitation. And next one is, if you're talking about this Article 82, so delimitation commission, actually it is one of the independent body. Okay, so this independent body which mainly constituted under which article? Article 82 of our Indian Constitution. So Article 82 talks about parliamentary power regarding this delimitation act after every census. And when this Delimitation Commission Act, which mainly came up or enacted in year 1952. So how many times we went for this setting up of this Delimitation Commission? So Delimitation Commission had been set up 4 times. It is 1952, 1963, 1970 and 2002. So in these 4 years we came up with this delimitation commissions, and there is no delimitation commission after 1891 and 1991 census. Okay, so now let us try to see the one prelims question that appeared in 2012 regarding this delimitation commission. So with reference to delimitation commission, consider the following statements. So first one is, the orders of this delimitation commission cannot be challenged in the court of law. Yes, so this is the one important prelims fact that you have to know. And next one is, when the orders of delimitation commission are laid before the Lok Sabha or state legislative assembly, they cannot effect any modifications in the order. Yes, this is also correct. So correct option will be both 1 and 2. So in this way you can expect questions from this delimitation topic in your prelims for sure. So now let us try to see next topic, and this is one of the important topic or highlight a news in the today's newspaper, that is regarding retail inflation. So I think 2 to 3 days back we studied about one article regarding inflation. So yes, inflation is persistent. So because of this, RBI mainly came up with increasing of interest rate. Okay, that is 40 basis points of repo rate and 50 basis points of CRR, cash reserve ratio. So already we know that. So at that time we also studied one editorial like, so this inflation which is mainly not because of this cost push inflation in the India, but we are mainly seeing because of increasing of liquidity in market. So these are the some important points that we have to recall from our earlier lecture, such that there will be a continuation regarding this topic. So at that time we also discussed that in April month the inflation is going to be very high. Yes. So if you see the data which may be released by NSO, National Statistical Office, which mainly says that inflation in the month of April, which is all-time high, which mainly reaches 7.8%. So earlier in the March 6.95%, but now in this April month it is like 7.8%. So if you see the price of oil, edible oil, crude oil, and the cost of transportation and the raw material cost and even vegetables cost has been very high in the market. So now let us try to understand this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that inflation mainly faced by Indian consumers raised to an almost 8-year high. So inflation which is 8 years high of 7.8% that is seen in the month of April, and in the last month in the March it was like 6.95%. That is almost 1% of increasing of inflation that is mainly seen, that is 1.5%. So if you're talking about, okay, so if you're talking about urban shoppers, especially if you're talking about urban inflation and rural inflation. So in the rural inflation we can see about 8.4%, and the urban percentage it is experiencing almost 1% of increasing of 1% of here inflation that is mainly seen. Okay, so in rural areas we are seeing there is a lot of amount of inflation when we are comparing with it of urban areas, and this is the data which is mainly released by this National Statistical Office. So if you see further more details which are given in this article, and that we need to understand here is, so why there is increasing of inflation, especially one important reason here is food cost which mainly increased, and consumer food price index which mainly jumped 11-month high. Okay, that is 8.4% of food price inflation that is mainly seen here, and food price which is mainly high it is mainly about 8.5% in rural India. So in rural India, the price is 8.5%. And if you're talking about inflation, it is a fourth month in row that retail inflation which mainly remained above 6%. So which is upper tolerance threshold for inflation under monetary policy framework. Okay, so this is the fourth month high in the row, and the retail inflation has remained above 6% with upper tolerance threshold for inflation under this monetary policy framework. So now retail inflation, which is very much high. Actually, if you are comparing with the last 4 months inflation, so in this last 4 months retail inflation, which is above 6%. So why it is above 6%? So why we are talking about this 6%? Because if you are talking about inflation maintenance target in India, so RBI need to maintain the inflation between 4 plus or minus 2%, that is 2 to 6%. And from last 4 months onwards, we are seeing there is increasing of inflation which is more than the 6%. So in this context, economists, they said that there is sharp acceleration of retail inflation, which mainly explained that. So central bank's recent move, that is increasing of interest rate. Right, and in the next month also they are going to take some more important and critical decision regarding improving of interest rate or increasing of interest rate to control this inflation. So this inflation, which is mainly driven by increasing of food prices, so this is the first important thing. And next one is because of global crude oil price. Okay, global crude oil price increase as well. And because of increasing of global crude oil price, so whenever we are going for fuel and as well as light, transport and communication prices, they had been increased. So these are some important reasons for increasing of inflation. And if you're talking about rural inflation, which is all-time high, it is 8-year high here. Okay, and if you're talking about some facts regarding this NSO, so NSO, that is National Statistical Office, which mainly formed after merging of this NSSO and as well as CSO. So NSSO, which mainly stands for National Sample Survey Office, and CSO, it is Central Statistical Office. And if you're talking about this NSO, which was first envisaged by our Rangarajan Commission, and it mainly came up to implement some maintaining of statistical standards and to coordinate with the statistical activities of center and as well as state. And here this NSO would be headed by secretary, that is Secretary of Statistics and Program Implementation. And if you're talking about this CSO, which mainly coordinates statistical activities in the country, and even it also serves statistical standards as well. So here NSO, which mainly responsible for conducting of large scale multiple sample surveys. Okay, so they are responsible for conducting of large scale sample surveys. And if you're talking about the key functions of this NSO, the first one is they will be helpful in planned development and as well as statistical system in the country, and even they will also lays down and also maintains some essential norms and standards in the fields of statistics. Okay, it mainly involves the concepts, definition, methodology of data collection, and even processing of data and as well as dissemination of the results as well. And even this NSO, which also prepares national accounts, and it also publishes the annual estimates of national product. And next one is governments and private consumption expenditure, capital formation, savings, and estimates of capital stock and consumption of a fixed capital. So in this way it mainly helpful. So apart from that, here this NSO, which also compiles and releases Index of Industrial Production, that is IIP, every month. Okay, and even this NSO, which mainly organizes and conducts periodic All India Economic Consensus as well. So these are some important things that you need to remember. Now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding Finland leaders in favor of seeking NATO membership. So actually there are two countries in Europe, they want to join this NATO and they want to get this NATO membership. They are, the first one is Sweden and next one is Finland. So actually this Sweden and Finland, they are mainly Scandinavian countries. Right, so these two countries, Sweden and Finland, they want to join this NATO. So because of this is in news, and even yesterday I studied and meant that UK which is mainly supporting this Sweden and Finland to join this NATO. So this article is important from your international relations, which mainly comes under your GS paper 2. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So actually Finland leaders, they came out that they are in favor of applying for this NATO membership, and even Sweden also coming up with the same type of steps, that is also going to have some interest to join this NATO. So if you're talking about some details, it mainly says that here Russia which mainly acting very much aggressively, okay, because whenever Ukraine said that it is going to join this NATO, it started attacking this Ukraine, and number of cities they are mainly smashed, and even number of ports of this Ukraine were also occupied by this Russia. So in the same way, whenever this Sweden and Finland, they are mainly joining this NATO means, so again what happened from this Russia, there is also some threat which is mainly faced by these countries. Okay, so Russian forces, they pounded areas in Ukraine's east, and even including a large pocket of resistance in Mariupol. Okay, and they also came up with occupying of some industrial area of Ukraine, that is Donbas region as well. So if we're talking about Finland's president and prime minister, they announced that here they have the right away for they should apply right away for this membership of NATO, and it is a defense military defense pact which mainly founded part to counter the Soviet Union. So actually what happened, so once this World War II had done, so here USA came up with military alliance that is called as NATO, and to counter this NATO, USSR on another side, it mainly came up with this Warsaw Pact. So in the recent days, there is expanding of NATO which is mainly happening day by day. So now Sweden and Finland, they want to join this NATO. So if you're talking about why Russia, which is mainly having concern when the Sweden and Finland, they are joining this NATO. So here strategic distance is very important here. So as you all know that USA, which is rivalry of now at present Russia, right? So whenever there are two enemy countries are there, they want to maintain a proper distance here. But whenever here's Finland, which is sharing boundary with Russia, which is joining with this NATO, which is a military defense pact of USA, then what happened, the strategic distance will be very much reduced. So it is not at all accepted by this Russia. So if you're talking about Finland, which is mainly sharing about 1340 kilometers of land border with Russia. So it is the longest border which mainly shared by any European Union member state with this Russia. So because of this, whenever Russia which want to join this NATO, and these NATO forces, they will be coming and standing across this border, so it is a grave threat for Russia. So yeah, this is about this topic. And if you're talking about what is this NATO, so NATO which mainly formed in 1949 after signing a Washington Treaty, and it is mainly providing some collective defense. Okay, so collective defense, so this is the one important thing that you have to remember. So if any country which is attacking one country which is a member of NATO, means all countries in this NATO, they will be re-attacking that country. So this is called as collective responsibility. So this military pact, it is a collective security which is against the Soviet Union, and it is a security alliance of 30 countries from North America and as well as Europe region. So NATO's foundational goal, it is to safeguard the allies' freedom and security by political and as well as militarily. And actually this NATO, it is a system of collective defense where independent member states agree for mutual defense in case of any attack by external party. So if we're talking about where is the exact location of this Sweden and Finland, so here we have Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland and Denmark. So these are the 5 Scandinavian countries. No sweet Finn. Okay, so this is Sweden, this is Finland, and this is Denmark. Here we have this Baltic Sea, and here this Finland which is mainly sharing boundary with this Russia, right? So this is Russia, and here we have this Ukraine, and below this here we have this Black Sea. So now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding event horizon reveals true colors of this saga, that is nothing but Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius. So now let us try to see this topic. This topic is important from your GS paper 3 under science and technology. So now let us try to see this topic. So context mainly says that scientists from this Event Horizon Telescope facility at press conference they held simultaneously at several centers around the world and they finally revealed the first image of the black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So scientists from this Event Horizon Telescope facility, they mainly revealed first image of this black hole. So what is a black hole? Black hole, it is a final stage of the life cycle of a star. So if we're talking about stars, we will be having small star and as well as big stars. So big stars means nothing but the stars which are having mass more than our sun. So they will be entering into different stages. Okay. So after different stages, in the final stage, these small stars will be converted into dwarf stars. Okay, white dwarf. And here big stars, they will be converted into black holes or neutrinos. Okay, so if you are talking about some details, it mainly says that image of Sagittarius A, okay, gave further support to the idea to compact object at the center of our galaxy is indeed a black hole, strengthening Einstein's general theory of relativity. So what happened? The first image of this Sagittarius A, which made it released, and this image of this Sagittarius, which mainly led to strengthening of Einstein concept of theory of relativity. So he mainly gives further support for the idea regarding the compact object at the center of our galaxy. So in 2019, Event Horizon Telescope Facility, it is a collaboration over 300 researchers, which mainly made a history by releasing first ever image of a black hole. So the name of that black hole is M87. Okay, and this black hole, which is mainly located at the center of our galaxy, Messier 87. So if you're talking about the Sagittarius, it is a ring-shaped image which mainly looked at a lot similar to that of M87, but it is mainly having a very small size compared to that of this black hole. It's like 52 micro arc seconds. Okay, so if you're talking about some important facts here, so the whole exercise was possible because of enormous power of Event Horizon Telescope. And actually what happened, if you're talking about other telescopes, so this is 3 million times sharper than the human eye as well. And if you're talking about Sagittarius, it may be located about 27,000 light years away from the Earth. Okay, and if you're talking about why it is very much difficult to find image of the Sagittarius when compared to that of this M87 black hole, because the size of the Sagittarius, it is very small. It is like 1/1000 size. Okay, 1/1000 size of this M87. And the second important one here is, so what are the gas that is swirling around this? It is very much moving very fast. By only minutes, it is mainly complete a round around this Sagittarius. So because of it is very difficult. So we are talking about some facts regarding this Event Horizon Telescope. It is a planet scale array of 8 ground based radio telescopes, and it mainly forged through international collaboration. Actually, this telescope, which mainly links around the globe to form a Earth-sized virtual telescope here. If we're talking about objective, it is mainly going to capture images of a black hole, and it also offers scientists a new way to study the most extreme objects in the universe predicted by Einstein's general relativity. Okay, and next one is, if you're talking about the bodies involved, 13 partner institutions, they worked together to create this Event Horizon Telescope, and the key funding was which mainly provided by US National Science Foundation and as well as European Union's European Research Council. Okay, so these are some of the important funding agencies. So now let us try to see the next topic. Title says Prime Minister call for World Health Organization reform. So this article is important from our GS paper to under international relations. So in international relations, we can talk about international organization. So WHO, it is one of the international organization. So here we can connect this topic with our international relations. So if you see context, it mainly says that a week after government denied WHO figures for deaths in India linked to COVID-19. So there are a number of articles in the newspaper says that we are not agreeing with whatever the data which is mainly given by WHO regarding this COVID-19 deaths. And in this context, our Prime Minister, he also called for need for a reform of United Nations health body, and he also came up with a review of its processes on vaccine approvals as well. Okay, so a week after government denied the World Health Organization figures for the deaths in India linked with this COVID-19, our Prime Minister, he mainly said that there is a need for reform of this WHO, and he also focused on the review process need to be in also vaccine approvals. So now let us try to talk about this details. So if you see details, it mainly says that Prime Minister was speaking at a second global COVID-19 summit. Okay, Prime Minister was speaking at second global COVID-19 summit. Okay, Prime Minister speaking at a second global COVID-19 summit. Actually, this summit which mainly co-hosted by United States as well. So in the speech, okay, which is mainly addressed by our Prime Minister, he mainly gave some statements. So actually, which are the leaders? Who are the leaders who are mainly attended this this summit? So African Union, European Union, Canada, Germany, South Africa, Japan and South Korea. So in this address, our Prime Minister said that there is a need for reforms of this WHO. So with these reforms, we can go for building of more resilient global health security architecture. So he was also set for WHO approval process for this vaccination and therapeutics to keep supply chain stable and predictable. Yes, especially for this India made COVID-19 vaccine, so it take a lot of amount of time to get approval. Okay, so because of this, here Prime Minister also said that here we need to also go for approval process of vaccines and therapeutics need to be done fast, such that we can also keep our supply chain stable and as well as predictable. So WHO estimated that about 4.7 million deaths which are directly or indirectly linked to this COVID-19 in India. Okay, and whatever the government of India, that is GOI data, which mainly says that it is like 10 times more than what are the estimates we came up by the government of India. So India also protested a long delay in obtaining WHO, that is WHO approval for Indian made Covaxin as well. So if we're talking about some facts regarding this WHO, so it is a United Nations specialized agency. It is made regarding the health. Actually, it was founded in year 1948 and headquarters located in Switzerland, and there are about 194 member states and 150 country offices and 6 regional offices are present. And this WHO, it is an intergovernmental organization and it also works in collaboration with the member states, and it mainly done through usually ministries of health. And if you're talking about WHO, which mainly provides leadership on global health matters, which also leads to shaping the health research agenda. It also came to setting of norms, standards and articulating evidence-based policy options, and also it will be helpful for providing technical support to the countries and monitoring and as well as accessing of health trends. And if you're talking about objectives of this WHO, the first one here is, it is one of the directing and as well as coordinating authority regarding international health work. Regarding international health work, it is a directing and as well as coordinating authority, and it is also focusing to establish and maintain effective collaboration with United Nations and some specialized agencies, government health administrations, professional groups and such other organizations as well. And it is also trying to provide assistance to the government upon the request in strengthening of health services. So regarding health services also, here this WHO, which is mainly going to provide assistance, and it is also helpful to promote cooperation among scientific and professional groups as well. So this will be helpful for contribution to advancement of the health. And next topic is regarding hunger risk from climate threat. So because of this climate change, it is also having some impact on affecting the agricultural productivity. So whenever there is decreasing of agricultural productivity, that will also leads to increasing of hunger. So this article is important regarding GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that India's fruit production could drop 16%. Okay, so India's production could drop 16% and the number of those at risk for hunger could increase 23% by 2030. Okay, so by 2030 there is increasing of hunger by 23% and there is decreasing of productivity by 16%. So because of this climate change. So this is a report by International Food Policy Research Institute on climate change and food systems. So if you see details, it mainly says that. So this report which mainly projects that, so there is impact of climate change on aggregate food production, food consumption. Okay, so because of this here, major food commodity groups and as well as population, they are very much risk at increasing of hungry. So this model they use, that is impact model. So this stimulates national and as well as international agriculture markets. So actually it has been developed with inputs from scientists from this consortium of International Agriculture Research Center and other global modeling efforts. So if you're talking about data which mainly says that here the number of Indians, they are at a risk of increasing hunger by 2030. It is expected to 73.9 million people by 2030. And because of this effects of climate change, it would also increase it to 90.6 million people. And next important thing here is we can also see there is shifting of diets, okay, towards higher value foods, including more fruits, more vegetables, processed foods, animal source foods outside the high income countries. And this one is meat production is also projected to double in South Asia and as well as Western Central Asia by 2030, and this meat production is going to be tripled by 2050. Okay, and next one is the regional difference that is mainly seen in the access to the food. Nearly that is about 500 million people, they are projected to remain at a risk of going hungry now. So globally about 70 million more people, they are at risk from this hunger due to this climate change. So this is about this topic. And next topic is about PM Ujjwala scheme. This is about gas cylinders. So this article is important regarding your GS paper 2 under governance. So if you see context, it mainly says that in the financial year 2021 to 2022, about 90 lakh beneficiaries of this Narendra Modi's government scheme, that is Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, so they did not take a refill of gas cylinders. Okay, so why there is no refilling of gas cylinders? Because so people, they need to go for refilling of their gas cylinders and they have to pay entire money. Okay, and after that they will be getting money into their account. So because of this COVID-19 pandemic, there is no livelihood, there is no income. So because of this, people, they didn't went for refilling of these gases. And if you're talking about details, it mainly says that the scheme was originally launched on May 1st, 2016, okay, in Balia, Uttar Pradesh by our Prime Minister. And at that time, target was 8 crore household gas connections by March 2020. And we came up with increasing of target over 9 crore gas connections, and we also came up with this 2.0 Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana 2.0, and which mainly launched in 2021 to 2022, and it mainly came up with additional 1 crore connection of this gas. So according to one RT, Right to Information Act, which mainly filed, so IOCL, which mainly said that 65 lakh customers, they had not been refilled their gas connections in the past financial year. And even HPCL and BPCL also said that 9.1 lakh and 15.96 lakh people, they didn't go for refilling of their gas cylinders. So this is about the data. So if we're talking about some facts regarding this PM Ujjwala scheme, so Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas introduced this Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana in 2016. So important objective here, it is to make clean cooking fuel such that it will be also helpful to decreasing of air pollution and even improve the health of women and as well as children, and even it will be helpful for the increasing of quality of life, especially for the women in the rural areas. So this is about this topic. There is nothing much. So now let us try to say yesterday's questions. The first one, it is regarding right to property. So right to property was under major controversy since its inception in the Constitution of India. So with its regard to its position, consider the following. So right to property is a constitutional right, yes. Supreme Court can issue writ. So actually Supreme Court can issue writ in the fundamental rights. Actually it is not fundamental right. So it is mainly removed from the fundamental right. It is now a constitutional right. So it can be eliminated. And next one is right to property was deleted from fundamental rights by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. It is by 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. So this is also wrong. So correct option will be A1 only. That is option 2 is correct answer. And next one is in India context, the rule of equality before law is not absolute. There are certain exceptions to it. Consider the following cases. So a member of parliament is answerable to the court in the aspect of anything said or vote given by him. It is not at all. So no member of parliament. So there is nothing like, so parliament should be answerable to the court. And next one is president or governor enjoy constitutional immunities. Yes. For ambassadors and diplomats, they enjoy not only criminal immunities but also civil immunities. Yes. So that option will be B and C. That is option 3 is the correct answer. And these are the today's questions. The first one is Article 19, that is right to freedom. And next one, it is about due process of law. Okay, so please try to give the answers in the comment box. And I want to announce you that we came up with this foundational course through this pen drive. So this is very useful for both 2023 and as well as 2024, because these are the videos which are updated videos, and these are also including recent current affairs, and recordings are still going on. So don't worry about this whether these are useful for this 2023-24 or not. Yes, absolutely they are useful. And we are also discussing previous year's questions and as well as previous year's prelims and as well as mains questions. So this will be one of the important and essential course that is required by each and every UPSC aspirant. And if you want to take single modules like only history classes, only polity, only geography, only ethics, that you can also take. So here I am dealing with geography and as well as ethics. Savan sir is dealing with the economy, and Rajesh sir is dealing with history, and Shashwat ma'am is dealing with polity. So these are the 4 core faculties of this foundational course. So you can take these courses. Okay. So now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So before that, if you have any query regarding these courses, you can call me on this number 8074765513. And if you want to watch the demo videos, you can visit our website rathodsacademy.com. And if you see, this is the today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So date is May 13th and this is Delhi edition. So I discussed regarding this detailed inflation topic. And actually, you know that the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, he mainly resigned to his post, and now Godbye appoints Rathod as Sri Lanka's Prime Minister. And next topic is regarding Finland. I discussed this topic. I discussed regarding this event horizon topic. And leave this city page. There is nothing much important. And you can also leave this states page as well. And if you see in this editorial page, I discussed regarding this delimitation topic. And there is one article regarding this marital rape. In yesterday's lecture, we discussed that topic. You can revise yesterday's lecture. And there is one article regarding this interest rate. Already we discussed this topic in number of times in our Hindu analysis. You can also see that once. And if you move forward in this text and context, there is article regarding the notifying of minorities. I discussed this topic, and I discussed about the 2 important articles, Article 29 and Article 30, which are mainly talking about these minorities. And you can revise that topic. And there is one article regarding India Hypertension Control Initiative. So actually, hypertension is nothing but increasing of blood pressure. Okay, so what happened in India, about 23% out of 2.1 million Indians, they are mainly having this problem of hypertension. So because of this, India came up with this India Hypertension Control Initiative. And here, if you're talking about high number of hypertension cases, they are mainly seen in Kerala. And if you move forward in this page, I didn't find anything which is much important. And here I discussed about this WHO reform. I discussed there is one more important topic I left here is elections to 57 Rajya Sabha seats on June 10th. So you need to open your Lakshmi card and you have to see the election process for these Rajya Sabha members. So this will be very important. And next article, it is regarding full coverage of government schemes will end appeasement in the politics. So here mainly talking about government schemes. You can also go through that once. And here in this 12th page, you can see there's one interesting article regarding this wild orchids in Assam. So yes, in prelims you can get a question regarding these orchids. So you should ensure that you will be prepared with these orchids. And next one, it is regarding hunger risk. I discussed this topic. I discussed regarding this Ujjwala topic as well. And if you move forward, there is one article regarding this Asian leaders. So seeking to counter China. So USA hosts this Asian leaders. So you have to see which are the members of this ASEAN, and you have to see the location of those ASEAN and what is the importance of this ASEAN. And there is one article regarding this North Korea, which made a test fires missiles amid virus outbreak. And next one is GDP growth to be almost 8% this fiscal. Okay, so this is according to the data which is mainly estimated by this finance ministry. And this one is industrial output expanded 1.9%. Here you need to know about this PMI, Purchasing Managers Index. So these are some important articles that appear in this today's newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.